600 horsepower MPV. You might think that's a bit too much, it's a bit kind of scary. Well, let's put it into sport mode. It's raining, the road is completely wet, ESC off. I'll just give it full power just to give you an idea of the stability. Are you looking for a car that can take you and your family and the neighbour's kids down the quarter mile in 13 seconds flat? I didn't think so, but here's a car for you in case you did. It's called the Zeekr 009. It's a fully electric MPV people mover, very luxurious, lots of high-tech features, and most importantly, lots of power. Underneath, you've got a 116 kilowatt hour battery, sending energy to 2 electric motors for 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. They combine to produce 450 kilowatts and 693 Newton meters. That's around 600 horsepower from a people mover. Absolutely insane. It's a bit ridiculous, this thing, but I actually quite like it because it is so ridiculous. Now, Zeekr is a brand of Geely Automobile or Geely Holdings. They own a lot of car companies like Lotus, Volvo, Geely themselves, Link & Co, Polestar, I guess, or not I guess, they do, indirectly kind of thing. So they've got a bit of experience now, and they've got a sort of wide range of different brands they can kind of tap into. Zeekr is positioned as kind of a luxury sub-brand, I guess, in Australia at least. There's just 2 models, the X and the 009, both of them luxurious. They've just launched the 7X as well, which is kind of like a sporty coupe style SUV. Again, focusing on luxury. And this definitely does offer genuine luxury. I'll show you inside in a sec. It's just starting to rain. But before we get inside, have a quick look at the design. At the front, you've got what I would describe as a robot face, these kind of vertical teeth with no grille. But you do have a active vent down below, so that opens up at certain times when it needs a bit of cool air going through to cool the batteries and motors and whatever. You've got vertical stacked headlights with the main beam down below, with daytime running lights up above, kind of crystal looking daytime running lights, nice and fancy. And then you've got a set of 20-inch alloy wheels. I actually really like these wheels. Wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport EV tyres, 265/45 front and rear. From the front, or the side view and back, it does actually look really cool. It looks modern and chunky, looks kind of low as well, and I love the way the wheels sit nice and flush with the body. So for some reason, Chinese vehicles, the wheel always sits in, and it just looks a bit awkward, like the body is going to fall over or something, whereas that is nice and flush, actually sticks out a little bit down below. Then you've got the latest theme of a full width tail light, nice intricate details in there and the LEDs. Unfortunately, I can't leave the lights on because, like a lot of modern vehicles, or especially EVs, as soon as you get out, everything turns off. And I find that really annoying. For example, you drive up your driveway, you're in sport mode, you're ready to go for a nice drive, jump out, check the letterbox, get back in, sport mode turns off, it goes all back to default. It's just annoying when they don't have a stop start button, in my opinion. I know it's like convenient, you can just jump in and put it in drive and go, but sometimes I'd rather just keep it on to keep my settings. The same goes for air conditioning usually as well. But there are some settings here that actually stay off, which is a little bit surprising, including some of the safety tech, which is great in my opinion, but I don't think it's actually allowed to be like that. But anyway, I'll talk more about that in a sec. Speaking of safety tech, yeah, lots of external cameras. We've got one down here on the guard, one at the front of the side mirror, and then one on the tip there as well. And then another one down in the front end. There's 12 cameras overall. I don't know if that includes the cameras inside, and then 12 sensors as well. So this thing can basically drive by itself if the law permitted. We'll jump inside and have a look, because I think this is the main attraction to this thing. I like this interior actually. It's got some design. It's not just a typical EV where there's just no design. It's just a screen and a dashboard and that's it. It's got this kind of classy trim across the dash, extends to the door trims as well. Lots of leather, Alcantara, suede sort of stuff there. And down below, just, it's pretty durable plastic, but it doesn't feel too tacky or scratchy. And then proper leather seats. These are Napa leather seats. It's not eco leather or weird plastic leather. Some vehicles you get into these days, like I remember the BYD Seal, the seats just feel so plasticky. Even some Hyundai Kia models, they just feel, that's not genuine leather at the end of the day. They're trying to be eco-friendly, but yeah, in my opinion, I think leather should stick around. It's a quality material. We've been using leather for decades, probably centuries. The quality and fit and finish that leather brings, it feels very luxurious. You've got this suede style headliner as well, all the way around. And if we have a look back here, it's a bit of a pet peeve of mine. This B-pillar is actually covered in a kind of leathery, rubbery finish, which is good because it means when the seatbelt flings back, it doesn't crash and scratch into plastic. I've driven so many luxury vehicles, even pretty expensive ones, and that's just a plastic board. It probably resists wear and tear and so on when the seatbelt's smacking into it, but yeah, I think that's better. I'd rather have that in a expensive vehicle. Decent driving position. I like driving MPVs actually. They've got excellent view out the front. You even got this little quarter window, or whatever you want to call that, triangular window at the front. Although that pillar there is pretty chunky when you close the door, and it connects up with the side mirror. So yeah, there's a bit of a blind spot all around there. So luckily it does have that little window, I guess, just to provide a little bit of reassurance of what's behind there. But you do have to be a little bit careful. You can raise the seat up a little bit to get over that if you're short like me. On the dash, you'll see the Yamaha sound system. So this is 30 speaker sound system, very nice audio, clarity, bass, and all of that. Proper high-end stuff, and that's what I like about this vehicle. It does have genuine luxury high-end qualities. Again, that leather feels really nice, feels soft, almost feels like Lexus leather, and it just feels very acoustic and luxurious in here. It doesn't feel tacky. Even the steering wheel here, it's fully stitched leather. It reminds me of the Lotus, the latest Lotus models, the electric vehicles. That's pretty much exactly the same. Like the quality of it, the sturdiness, it doesn't feel cheap and tacky at all. Up on the dash, we've got this 15-inch touchscreen, very comprehensive, pretty easy to use. You've got car settings here, so you can change the suspension, go into all the different areas, doors, side mirrors, and all of that. And then you've got your suspension settings, go into the apps, you've got all the apps there, and then also there's a drop-down menu. Sorry, this does look a little bit confusing, but you get used to all this. There's a driver monitoring camera. That turns on as soon as you get off the driver's seat, so you've got to turn that off every time. And then there's your drive modes as well. So sport, if I get out, open the door, that'll flick back to the standard mode. Yeah, so it's gone back to comfort. I just find that a little bit annoying just because I stepped out of the vehicle for 1 second. And yeah, the driver monitoring cameras come back on as well, with driver fatigue alert. Lots of settings and functions you can play around with. You go into this little car picture down here, and you've got all the settings. And if you go into this driver assist setup, lane keep assist, so that stays off, and lane departure warning, that's been off. Every time I get in the vehicle, that's remained off, which is great. I love that. But I thought the rules meant that they had to turn back on each time you get in the vehicle. Hopefully, it's Zeekr just gone, nah, stuff that. I'm just gonna, if they want to turn it off, it stays off until they turn it back on. I think that's awesome. Like, I think some car manufacturers need to sort of get back at this ANCAP ridiculousness and just say, like, no, this vehicle is safe, but if the user chooses to customize and set the vehicle up the way they want to, then fair enough, it doesn't get a 5-star ANCAP rating. You can make that aware. Like, you know, it's 5 stars if you leave everything on, 4 stars if you turn stuff off. Like, I just don't understand why it has to be so annoying and always turn back on. But I find that really cool that they've just made it so it stays off. Now, I don't know if the year model of this matters for that too. So sometimes the rules and regulations come in at certain points, and some people get under the radar because it's not a brand new generation change, so they're allowed to stick to the older rules. I don't know if that applies to this. I mean, I don't think it will, because this is a brand new model for Australia. It launched last year, 2024, so it still should apply. But anyway, that stays off. I reckon that's really cool. It's just a shame the driver fatigue monitor doesn't stay off. And it'd be cool if the sport mode and everything stayed on just when you jump out. Fair enough if you lock the vehicle, but just when you jump out, it should stay on. You've got this full-time four-wheel drive setting here. It basically locks the four-wheel drive system, but it does say it does increase power consumption, and it's only available in comfort and eco modes, or the individual modes, sorry. And you've got this kick down, so you smash the pedal and it'll give you a nice, it feels like you're changing down gears kind of thing. Gives you plenty of power. You can turn the ESC off as well if you want to. Some other settings here, doors and lighting and all that. You can sit in here for ages and just set up the vehicle the way you want it. There's your charging. So I've got what's that, 43%. Now speaking of charge actually in the battery and all that, the onboard range calculator is actually quite pessimistic in a good way. Like over the weekend I took the family to a trip for a trip to the zoo. It was about 100 kilometers each way. When I jumped in it said 380 kilometers range. Thought, yeah, that's enough. By the time we got there it said 350 left, so it only used sort of 30 kilometers range, which is really good. And then by the time we got home, it was about 260 kilometers left. So it definitely is, yeah, it's not optimistic, and it won't give you this sort of far-fetching range figure, which I really like. A lot of EVs at the moment out there, you'll jump in and it says 500 kilometers range. You drive for what feels like 300 kilometers and it's already down near empty and you've got to charge it up again. Whereas this is kind of the opposite, which I'd prefer because it's kind of giving you a worst case scenario figure. Max charging is 205 kilowatts with DC power and 11 kilowatts with AC power. I charged it in, plugged it in at home, plugged it in at home. We've got a 22 kilowatt three-phase charger, maxed out at around 10.5 kilowatts. It gave about 30 kilowatt hours in about 3 hours, because obviously 10 kilowatts per hour, 10 kilowatt hours, which is around 200 kilometers range, I reckon, roughly, which is pretty good. You know, it's not the fastest charging vehicle out there. Some of the Lotus models will do the max 22 kilowatts with AC power, and even 205 kilowatts is not the highest. There's 350 kilowatt vehicles, lots of those out there at the moment now as well, including from Lotus and Volvo. Volvo I think is 250 kilometers max. So yeah, it's not the fastest in charging, but with a big battery, it does mean it takes a while to charge compared with other EVs that have, you know, 50, 60 kilowatt hours. We'll jump in the back and check it out. You can open the doors from up here, and you've got a full sunroof as well, or two sunroofs actually. And yeah, look at this, airline style seats, full adjustment, heating and cooling. You've even got a fridge down here. It's a proper, they say, constant temperature fridge as well. Got some drinks in there. You've got a 100 watt USB-C charger there and a 60 watt. That wireless charger at the front is also 50 watts. Got little pockets for your phone. Even this this flips down as well, so you can put your feet on there for the passenger side only. Check out the clock embedded into the door trim. There's one on the other side as well. Got different options there for the windows and so on. You can close the doors from up there, or you can use the handle down below. Got nice little reading lights and climate vents, including on the back of the console, although it is just a one directional vent. You can't just spray it where you want, but yeah, you've got the ones on the ceiling anyway. And then a 17-inch screen with full internet connectivity, so you can watch YouTube. It's pretty cool. Also got these little pop-out cup holders, and there's a little pocket in the side. Cup holders down here as well. Up at the back, you just hit the button there and the whole seat will start moving forward so you can jump in. And then yeah, plenty of room back here. You can actually get this with six-seat configuration, where it's just got slightly more luxurious seats in the middle row, and then two slightly more luxurious seats in the third row here, whereas this is just a kind of 3 across bench seat. But plenty of room. Look, my knees are nowhere near the seat in front. You can actually adjust the seat a little bit from the back. And you've got your separate air conditioning controls, or at least turn it on and off. USB port, little hook there for the pull down blind. And yeah, more climate vents in the ceiling, and that big open panoramic sunroof. Cup holders as well. It's definitely one of the most luxurious MPVs currently on sale, in my opinion. As I said, it's got that quality feel to it, all the materials and everything, and it's just very relaxing, got lots of technology, lots of USB ports and all that sort of thing. So nobody's going to be complaining. Got a 12-volt socket on the side. Decent amount of room, even in the sort of 3-row configuration. And there's just a little bit of storage under there. Oh, it's mainly your safety stuff. A hook on one side, strangely, to stop your shopping from floating about. Yeah, very nice. All that trim as well extends all the way back to the boot. All right, let's take it for a drive and I'll show you what it's like. All right, to start with, let's just try out something. 600 horsepower MPV, you might think that's a bit too much. It's a bit kind of scary. Well, let's put it into sport mode. It's raining. The road is completely wet. ESC off. I'll just give it full power just to give you an idea of the stability. no wheel spin whatsoever, just takes off in a very controlled and confident manner. That's with, I mean, the ESC doesn't turn completely off, but even so, it says it's off, so you're going to have a bit of wheel spin there in an equivalent 600 horsepower anything, really. You can actually drift it a little bit as well, but it does start to grab when it slips a little bit beyond a certain point. What I'm getting at is you don't have to be worried about that 450 kilowatts of power. You can drive this in a very comfortable and controlled manner. The power is just there for in reserve if you need to get onto the highway or something like that, or overtake, and you've got a full load of people and some luggage on board. It's just plenty of power to get through, like you would get in any kind of high-end German luxury vehicle with a petrol or diesel engine. They've got plenty of power and torque that you can get up to speed safely. It's the same as this. It's just, this is quite heavy, so it needs a fair bit of power. But yeah, it's not intimidating at all. I actually think it handles quite well. With that air suspension, it's obviously adaptive and can control the bumps, manage the bumps really well without upsetting the stability of the vehicle. It feels very rigid as well. Those tires obviously help. Remember, I've got the stability control off, or you know, semi-off, and this is just handling really, really nicely. Full power. It picks up speed very quickly, as you'd imagine. The 0 to 100 claim is 4.5 seconds. We'll do the performance testing a bit later on. But yeah, this is handling like a very sporty SUV, or even like a sports sedan, because all of the weight, or most of the weight, is very low down. The battery is underneath the cabin. The center of gravity is very low, so there's no sort of major body roll or any of the sort of, you know, annoyances that you get with higher riding SUVs and certainly MPVs. This feels very agile for what it is. Full power. Yeah, the acceleration is definitely very exciting. There's no noise. I like the way there's no fake noise either. It's just electric doing what it does, you know. I don't really understand all these fake noises coming in, trying to replicate something that it's not. Whereas this is just very soothing and relaxing, but yeah, you don't get that excitement that comes with an engine building revs. Around here, a little bit of oversteer coming out of there. That was with the power down. It's very slippery through here, actually. Yeah, very sure-footed and enjoyable. Like, I'm having a bit of fun driving this MPV, or people mover, down a very challenging and technical winding road. The air suspension is absolutely wonderful, like it is in most vehicles. It's able to iron out the bumps, or catch the bumps, but still provide excellent compliance. I mean, you could call for a slightly firmer setup if you were doing very sporty driving all the time, but even so, this is I think the perfect balance for a vehicle like this. Like, you don't really need hardcore suspension. Yeah, this is lots of fun. I know you probably don't believe me, and you can't hear anything, so you don't get that sense of speed, but it's actually really fast and engaging. The steering feels pretty good. There's not heaps of communication, but there's a bit. You can kind of feel when it's going to understeer or oversteer. It doesn't really oversteer, but yeah, this is actually lots of fun and very well sorted for this style of vehicle. And then when you're finished having fun on a winding road, you can flick it back over into comfort mode, turn the ESC back on, and it becomes a very relaxing luxury tourer. It's in that sense, it's very much a multi-purpose vehicle. I actually find the suspension is better in sport mode. Comfort mode is just a little bit too much wheel movement. Great for if you're in the city and you're transporting VIP guests and so on. But out on country roads like this, I find sport mode just gives you that slightly better body control. It's still very comfortable, like, I mean, perfectly comfortable. It's just that in comfort mode, it becomes a little bit, yeah, a bit too relaxed, in my opinion anyway. You do have one pedal driving as well. There's no paddle shifters, so you can't adjust the regen. I just leave it off because I like just coasting along the highway. As I said, plenty of settings and stuff to play around with. All right, let's head out now to the performance test and see what it goes like.